Welcome to That's So Nova. My name is Nova and welcome to my channel. I like to make sewing tutorials and quilting tutorials, basically anything that's dealing with crafts and sewing, I'm all about. If this is your first time to the channel, I hope you really enjoy the content. If you're a returning subscriber, how you doing? If you're someone that is on my Patreon, thank you for coming by and I appreciate you supporting me. You can support this channel by simply just also liking, subscribing, hitting that notification button, and putting a comment. It helps out the channel tremendously, and it helps with the algorithm for YouTube. I was about to say Facebook. I'm not going to even front on you. Today we're going to be doing the Maisie bowler bag, but we're going to do a teeny tiny modification that I have seen in the group asking for, and I think you might enjoy it. We're going to take the Maisie bowler bag and not make it a drop-in, not make it a binding. We're going to turn it into a birthing bag. There's just a few extra steps to this, and before you get started, look at what I'm saying and then go from there. In the Maisie bowler bag, there is a pattern piece for a separate pattern piece for the lining because it's meant to drop it in. We are not going to use that. We'll use it as a stabilization area. We'll cut out our stabilizer, our foam, our fleece, whatever you're going to use. But the lining bag needs to be the same pieces as you use the top part, the top band for the top part. They need to be the exact same for the exterior, for the interior. And then we can go from there. It's just a few tricks to do it, and we have it going good. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay. We have our top part, and then we're going to be working on page 3 with our connectors. I am not using woven connectors. If you're using woven connectors, please follow part 3 to part 3. The last paragraph, it shows you how to do it. We're going to be using I'm using cork connectors. What I did is I have on the center in each piece a hem tape, which is I get at my local stores, my local, well, it's not local, it's in Philadelphia. It's a corset store, and they have like hem tape for like big over the top dresses, and I use it. And it's very sturdy material. And whenever I have scraps, I keep it by my workstation so that way I can put it in my any place that is going to have a lot of friction or not friction, a loading area, like a bare weight loading. Even though vinyl and cork are very strong, same with waterproof canvas. If you or your customer or your loved one is like me, that shoves a whole bunch of stuff into their bag, it can become where the handles can stretch. Trust me, I have done it with vinyl and cork, folded onto each other for a strap, and it stretches if the bag is overstuffed. I'm an overstuffer, and I admit it. So what I do now is I add some twill tape, ribbon, whatever I can that can help strengthen that. The next part we're going to do is we're going to measure down 2 inches, and we're going to be putting in some stitches. And I'm using a gray Choco pen. That one showed up way better. I like to use chalk or tandy leather pens. Sometimes I notice with cork, the tandy leather pens don't want to come out like with water or rubbing it. So I'm a really big fan of chalk. Okay. So I'm going to take this over to the machine, and I'm going to go up one side and then go down the other where that line is at 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to backstitch in the beginning and end. I'm using a neutral thread color. I'm using a 70 weight thread from Selric that I got off of Amazon a few years ago. And it's a very neutral color, so it's one of my faves to work with when I'm trying to blend the thread in. Okay. Now you could pull the threads to the back so it could be seamless, especially if you're using contrasting thread, but you don't have to do that if you don't want to. It's another technique that makes your bag look a little bit more upscaled, put together. I usually do it, but I'm using this thread color is so close to the natural cork color that I feel like I don't have to do that. Take your time. This is a perfect time to practice your top stitching, and get a feel of your machine with that, you know, material in. Your machine acts different with different material all the time. So having like a testing square sandwich where you have the interfaces you're going to be using, interfacing stabilizers you're going to be using, and the materials from, you know, scrap, you can get a kind of like a guide of the tension you're going to need for your bag. I'm also going to be making a different slip pocket and a zipper pocket because we are going to be birthing it. We need that, we need an opening, so we need two openings. We're going to do one in our lining, and we're also going to do the zipper pocket open so that way we can birth everything and then close everything up seamlessly. So I am going to do a zipper facing or a plaque or whatever you want to do to install your zippers. This is where you like kind of can do anything you wish. And I'm also going to be using faux binding, faux piping. You don't need to pipe necessarily, but it is a piping, but it is a nice touch. I'm using neutral colors, and I'm going to just placing these out, and I'm going to grab I'm going to grab my connectors and we're going to need the front pieces. I'm going to find my centers. I do that every single time. I cannot explain to you how many times I have made something and then the centers were off and it made the whole bag look super wonky. So I usually pop a couple clips in and I just do a small little V. Spoon has a big seam allowance, so take advantage of that, like fully. And with that, I'm also going to put some double-sided tape on the back to make sure it sticks. I'm going to be using a couple pieces of double-sided tape because we have to install the hardware. We don't want any shifting on our cork when we're sewing it on these really pretty connectors. I love these connectors. They're unique and it does give a very retro feel to the bag. All right, so we are going to fold down 1 inch on each end, and I'm just going to grab my my gray chalk pen that I keep misplacing and draw a line. And I draw the line because it does help tremendously. It just like literally makes everything like even, so it looks, you know, it has a nice clean finish. I'm going to grab some double-sided tape. I'm using, I need to call wall whack because I want to say way whack every time. And then sometimes I want to say Wayfair. I know it's really weird. And they're here. They're not that far from me. I live in Maryland and I think they're in Philadelphia. And their number is right on their back of their magazines. I'm going to call and just like listen to how they say it. And then hopefully I can say it right. But like I'm one of those people that once I get used to saying something a certain way, it's so hard for me to break that cycle. I know, you should just break it, Nova. I'm going to slide my connectors on, and I'm going to press on that double-sided tape. Same here. And you can use 1/4 of an inch, 3/16, whatever you want to use. You can use Dritz wash away. You can use glue and just like put a couple clips on place, walk away, and then let it just cure. Let the glue cure. Like Magtac, Beacon, you know, those are our favorite try and trues in the sewing community. And most of the time, if I'm not filming, I will use Beacon because I can walk away and do something else while the other part's drying. So I am going to now make a line. I want to sew at least 1/2 inch in onto the back of the connector. So I'm making it a mark 3/4 of an inch from the top of the band right here and down. And with that, I'm catching all 4 layers. Then I'm just going to grab a little bit of more double-sided tape and just put it a couple of strips. My daughter, she's sick at home right now, and she's watching TV, and the voice is the voice on whatever she's watching is throwing me off because I'm like, is Kendall home? Because it sounds similar to him. But she's probably watching like Gravity Falls or some kind of cartoon. I'm not too sure. But the puppy is like loving her being home because he can snuggle. He's like the biggest snuggler in the world. All right, so I'm going to remove my double-sided tape off of one at a time. And I'm going to line it up. And just press. And then I'm going to grab the other side and do it the same. And you can just like go glue. Just put like the Beacon on this, put a book or something on it, and then walk away. And in about 5-10 minutes, it'll be perfectly set. It's just a little bit more patience because it's not instant. But trust me, it works better on the machines. All right. So we're going to do some top stitching. And I am at, I think I'm at a 4.5 stitch length. Make sure you back stitch in the beginning and the end. And I'm just doing 1/8 of an inch. And when I get to that line, I'm going to sew across. And grab my scrap. I'll go down. There's the white pen after. And I do go over all edges because I have had it where this part lifted up when I was sewing something together, and then I had to seam rip it all out, and it was very frustrating for me. And you want to make sure you caught everything. I am going to put a rivet for extra reinforcement, but I like to do that stitch on the very top, and you could back stitch around over it too, just for that extra. Cork is really a very forgiving fabric. Textile. Okay, so I'm kind of nervous. I've made, you know, bags into a birthing bag before, like a couple of times, but I never did one live without actually doing it on that particular bag. So this should be interesting. All right. We have one side done, and I do want to put a name tag. Sometimes I don't like it bam right there in the center, but I like it on the edge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go 1 inch in, 1.5 inches in, and 1.5 inches up. And I'm going to place a mark, and then I'm going to take my name tag. If you have cork ones from a shop or something you make, place it wherever you feel like it feels organic to you. Like, yeah, it feels good right there. Just for me, sometimes I don't like it have it front and center. I don't know why. I don't want to, I guess, take away from the textile. Like, I did something, you'll be surprised how long it took me to figure out that I wanted this fabric. I literally was going to do the body. Hold on, I'll be right back. My dogs are going nuts. Okay, sorry about that. My neighbor was knocking at the door. You know how it is. You start talking, blah, blah, blah. All right, so you sewed on all 4 connectors, and then just find your center point. Find your center point and just put a rivet if you want. You don't have to. You can do an extra row of stitching. It really is up to your discretion, and this is how that looks. So far, so cute. That's so cute. All right, we're gonna grab our exterior top panels, and like I said in the beginning, I'm recommending cutting the exterior the same length as this, cutting the interior the same pattern piece as the exterior. I cannot talk today. Maybe it's because it's a Monday. So what we're going to do is I like to have my zippers a little longer. I've had issues before where something happened where a zipper popped off, and because I didn't have the tape, it just made it a little bit more aggravating. So I just do this. You don't have to do it. You can make it the exact same length as the top piece, and it'll be just fine. We're going to find our centers on both sides for our lining and our exterior pieces. We're going to line up the lining wrong sides, right sides up, wrong sides of the zipper. Grab some clips and just clip it in place. We're going to base this down. And my if you see on my cotton pieces, it has 1 layer of a woven interfacing, and then I have thermolam as a second piece. I'm really liking putting fleece in my lining pieces right now. It's like I'm living for that. So I'm going to base this down at 1/8 of an inch. Raw edges to raw edges. Then we're going to do the same trim. I always have to remind myself to trim because I hate trimming when the bag's all done and I have all these threads. I feel like, okay, it's not done. I'm going to put the right sides down to the right sides of the zipper tape. Find my center marks. Clip. If you hear coughing, I'm sorry. My middle child, Hope, has strep throat again. I don't know. It's like the revenge of the strep throat over and over again this year. If we don't have the flu, we have strep. If we don't have strep, we have the flu. But it could be worse, so I'm not going to complain. She's healthy. She's giggling and laughing. She's just a little bit tired. And after I do this tutorial, I'll make her some nice hearty chicken soup. She's set up right now with lots of fluids. And she's at home watching TV and doing a little bit of her homework. Let's see. So we put the top part on at 1/4 of an inch per the pattern. And trimming. So what I do is I bring right sides together, and then I just like put clips on the ends of the sides. And then we're gonna top stitch at 1/8 of an inch down. And I do a small little back stitch. It'll be caught up in the other seam allowance. Nobody will see it, but it just helps anchor. No raveling of the stitching. I have like glue everywhere. All right. All right, this is how we're going to start making it into a drop-in line. Not drop-in, sorry, I'm scaring all of you. A birth method. First, we're going to put our zippers on. I like to put 2. You could put 1. The reason why I do 2 is, have you ever had a JanSport backpack? All my JanSport backpacks always held up really well, except sometimes one zipper would like totally malfunction or come off, and I didn't know how to do zipper installation, but having that second zipper always made me feel like secure, like I could still use a backpack even if it just zips to the right or left or whatever. So that's why I always like to put 2 zippers in, because just in case one messes up, then you have another one. It's not the end of the world, you know? I'm using zipper heads. I'm using zipper tape and zipper heads from, it's not My Hand Space. It will come to me right when I'm not thinking about it. I'm telling you, Monday, my coffee spilled. It's just one of those days. So we're going to have that. We're going to grab our side pieces. You can make a choice now whether or not you want to do the side pockets. I think they're cute. I'm gonna grab my side pieces. All right, let's whip up these side pockets real quick. They're right sides together. We're going to stitch them at 1/4 of an inch. If you want to reduce bulk, you don't have to stitch this. You don't have to have side pockets. It's cute to put like little coins in, you know, mementos or candy. You know how I feel about my candy. Throw some Skittles in these little pockets and you're good to go. I like to do the side pockets and not do piping. I don't know. I'm weird like that. I'm going to this, put some clips. You could press this down. Sometimes what I do is I finger press, like press it towards with my index and my thumbs, and then just put a clip or two on the bottom, so that way nothing shifts while I'm top stitching. Zipper Valley. That's how my brain works really weird. You can ask my husband. He can attest to it. He'd be like, you know, the things of random things all throughout the day. And then it'll just pop up in their head. So we're going to base this on. You can use a 1/4 of an inch base if you want, and therefore when it gets trimmed down, then this stitch will still stay. You can do 1/8 of an inch. Just be cognizant that if you trim down the seam allowance once all the bags put together, it will take away this spacing stitch. So I usually just do 1/4 and call it a day. Just back stitch at the beginning and the end. So it's just an extra reinforcement stitch. That's one pocket done. With us making this where it has a birthing, we're just going a little bit out of order to make sure that everything adheres really well. Just comes together cohesively. Okay. All right, so let me move these pattern pieces and we're going to start working together. All right, we're going to take our right sides and put them together. Okay, we're going to you know what, I should have did 3/8 of an inch. Let's see. We're going to put right sides together. Bear with me for a second. One moment. I'm telling you, when it rains, it pours, right? You know, but we're going to continue. So where we left off is we finished our zipper, and now we're going to add our side pieces. So what I like to do first is I like to definitely find my centers. I'm just doing a little snip. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place the center mark with the center of the zipper tape and I'm going to clip. Now when I fold it onto its back, I'm going to clip, make sure it's clipped on to exterior matching exterior. We are not going to sew over the interior. I repeat, do not sew over the interior. What we're going to do is there's a 1/2 inch seam allowance. We're going to use that. We're going to start at the top, the beginning, make sure we backstitch well. And we're going to sew all the way until the zipper teeth. Right when we get to the zipper teeth, we're going to backstitch, put our thread, we're going to pull our needle up, and we're going to move over the zipper teeth and go to the other side, and we're going to do a couple stitches forward and back. And then we're going to sew the remaining seam allowance. And make sure you backstitch well in the beginning and end. By doing this, you now have threads in the middle that you're going to snip, and there's no stitching on the center of this. So let me show you from here. See how the stitching breaks. I'm looking for something bright I can show you. There's no stitching in between here. This is what's going to make us have our come on threads. This is what's going to make us have it where we can do a birthing method versus a binding. So we're going to now do the same thing with our interior fabrics. We're going to snip threads. Line up the pocket where the center mark that we just made is on the back, the wrong side of the zipper tape, but you can see where the middle is. We're going to flip this over, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to lift. Sorry, I'm moving things out of the way because this project gets long real fast. We're going to lift our lining, backstitch well, go all the way till you see the zipper teeth, stop, backstitch a few stitches, lift up our needle, and we're going to go to the other side past the zipper teeth. We are not sewing over those zipper teeth or zipper tape. We're going to do some back stitches. All right. We're going to do the same to the other side. And you're like, no, but this is where we top stitch. We're getting there, I promise. But see how it's already forming into this unusual shape. Okay, we're going to grab our piece for our straps, and I am going to, I'm going to grab some stabilizer, because these straps are going to, these anchors, these connectors are going to be where we hook the adjustable strap or your shoulder strap, whatever you're making, to it. And you don't want to have it where it's like just 2 layers of material. You want some kind of stabilization. You can use like a woven interface similar to Sofuse, or you can use a non-woven interface, like use a little bit of Decoville Light in the middle. Whatever you have on hand, make it handy. You can use ribbon, twill tape. You can use the world. You can do anything you wish. And we're going to fold this onto itself where both sides are meeting. It's kind of thick. That's why I do definitely recommend ribbon, because you won't even know that it's in there. There's no thickness. So we're going to do 1/8 of an inch down both sides of this strap connector. And then I'm just going to pop over a few stitches. All right. We're going to trim all these threads up. Okay, we're going to fold this in half, cut. I'm using a 3/4 of an inch rectangle ring, and I'm hoping the other one is here, because I had them all, but then knocking at the door, spilling of the coffee. Let me do this one side and then I'll grab this other one real quick. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our connector and we're going to like shimmy it and remove that thread. Shimmy it, and we're going to sandwich in between. So what we're going to do is, if you're able, if not, it's fine. You can rivet it. If you're able, then you can. I'm trying to leave like a 1/2 inch out, and then we're going to top stitch just from here to here, just over the zipper tape. Move the pocket out of the way so that way you don't accidentally like sew over the top stitch the top pocket. This is really thick. A walking foot on your sewing machine, a hop jumper will help out tremendously. And you can put also a rivet there, which most likely I'm going to do because I just like the feeling of a rivet. I feel it's secure. And let me get these threads. And as you can see on the lining, no, there's no top stitching. Now, if you top stitch, what's going to happen is it connects these two pieces. So now they're not separate, where we can use this for just the lining and this is just for the exterior. And so that's where the main issue is. If you have excess bulk like I have on one side, you can curve this around. For some reason, I'm trying to figure out what I did wrong. You can curve this around and just snip it so that way it's not too much. I'm going to do that. All right, one side done. There's no going back. This is the final countdown. And I'm doing it on the other side too. And I'm going to trim down some of this batting that the interfacing is poking out of. And as you can see, we're going to have a really cute strap connector. It's all enclosed, and now we're going to be able to make this into a not a drop-in lining. I keep saying it because that's what I told myself. We're not doing a drop-in lining. We're going to do a birthing method. But for some reason, drop-in lining keeps popping out of my mouth. And that is not accurate at all. So let's see. I'm looking for my other connector without like hurting myself in the process. I know I grabbed both of them I could bet money on it. But what usually happens is just one piece will just go MIA. It's not a Shinova thing if I don't lose a piece. Let's see. I think that's it. It maybe just dropped off. Okay, so I've said this before in other videos, and I don't know if anyone really listens, but the negative side effect of having a industrial machine is that you don't have a lot of table room. So like when we had just like one kid and we lived in an apartment, I used to use my kitchen table and I would have all this glorious room and I was like, yeah, this is amazing. Things dramatically changed when I got a industrial. There's like no room on that table. It looks like it does have room. Trust me, can be super deceiving when it comes down to industrial machines. And there are some rivets. Industrial machines and their table space. Like, I don't think it's more, I think from the head, from like right here to here, it's like less than 15 inches. And if you think about that, it's not very big. All right, so we're going to grab our other one. Thanks for bearing with me. I just didn't want to cut you off and tape it. So I'm going to again make sure it's the same amount out, a 1/2 inch. I'm going to measure it real quick. Okay. Making sure all this lines up. We're only going to stitch over the connector and the interior and exterior, and not the pocket itself. You could back stitch. And trim threads. All right. And then if you want, you can put a rivet there just to give it an extra security. And I'm going to just go through the exterior and not the interior. I'm eyeballing it here, moving the pocket out of the way. And you're just trying to get to the center point of it. I'm smashing. Normally I would do a hand set one, like punching it. I love to do that. I don't know, it makes your job a whole lot easier to me. I think you can get into tighter spaces. And I'm going to stick cap on there. Grab my press. Let's see. This, and then as you can see, it's only going through the tape and the exterior fabrics. I'm just going to place a rivet on and set it. Okay, I feel like this is not setting. Okay. One. Then I'm going to do this side. Don't put a hole through the pocket because then you won't be able to get into it, and then that's not fun. I mean, they're not like massively big pockets, but they're pockets nonetheless. They add an extra characteristic to the bag, another feature, but you don't have to put them in. That can help reduce bulk tremendously. Like, you don't have to do piping. It does give it a more vintage look, but you don't have to do it. It's kind of like build as you go technique. Whatever techniques you want to put on there, you can. You can do faux piping. Okay, and we are done with the rivets for now. Okay, so we have this part done. So we're going to be basically now following the same steps that's on page 7. If you wanted to, you could put piping all the way around. I'm going to not do that because I can't find, I was going to do faux piping, but I don't think I have a long enough piece to go all the way around. So there's that. And I don't have any pre-made, so it is what it is. We're gonna now we're gonna put this to the side and put the exterior bottom on. We're grabbing our 2 exterior pieces. We're getting the exterior bottom. And we're going to put right sides together. And pop a couple clips in there. We're going to use a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Backstitch well at the beginning and end. And we're going to trim. And we're going to fold it down. And we're going to top stitch on the bottom of the bag at 1/8 of an inch. And all the seams should go towards the bottom panel as well. The whole thing about modifications is this. Sometimes they work out wonderfully. Sometimes not so much. You have to, it's a whole risk and reward scenario. Sometimes it's just, you found the golden ticket. You made it, you made it work. And other times, you tried something. That's the way you have to look at it. Sometimes, like right now, I'm still conflicted about the top panel, but I think it's going to work out great. I'm optimistic. I'm trying to move stuff so it doesn't fly off the table like clips. But it's not a Nova video if I don't forget a piece of hardware or some clips don't go flying. So there's that. Alright, so we're going to top stitch this, putting all seams towards the bottom exterior. What you could do to relieve bulks too is you can snip into the seam allowance at 1 inch and have the seams flat on where you're going to So that would help reduce this, you know, 1/2 inch of bulk a little bit better. Like butterfly, it opens just that 1 inch, and the rest you follow the same exact thing. So that way it just helps reduce a little bit of bulk. Oh man, I ran out of bobbin threads. That's cool. See, like the great thing about cork is kind of forgiving, and you can just kind of just go over the holes that you made, or you hit it up with a blow dryer and it will just like come together. Like the holes will seal up a little bit. It's pretty cool. Gonna grab another bobbin. And I miss the thread indicator when you're like your bobbin's low. Oh my gosh, I miss that feature. I think they should have that on industrials. I know they have like some industrials that have electronic features, but those things cost a lot of money. But I think it's worth it. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think having a notification of telling you whether or not your bobbin's low or your tension's off or something like that is like pretty cool. So I'm going to go over to where I started, my machine stopped collecting bobbin thread, a back stitch 1 or 2 stitches just to secure it, and then resume. If you don't want to show those back stitches, what you could do is you can start and then you can grab a needle and put it in. Start, have long tails, go all the way through, have a needle thread this last one and go into the previous hole and tie it off by hand, and nobody will know. But if you're using neutral thread coloring like I'm doing, nobody's really going to be able to notice it as it is. So we are going to do the same for our interior. No, we're going to do the same for the interior, but we're going to make our zipper pocket and all that fun stuff first. Okay. All right. I'm going to put some double-sided tape. I'm using a 1/2 inch. I'm making a slip pocket. I made the slip pocket the same measurements as the zipper pocket that's in the pattern piece, and I'm just going to do some quick little hole modifications real fast to make it a really cute slip pocket. I'm going to fold this in on itself. That's encasing all the edges on the side. And then I'm going to fold it up. And I'm going to grab I know. Come on, little pocket. I'm going to grab the some pocket trim. It's like a one inch piece. I'm going to do it in a alternate color. And I'm going to put some double-sided tape on both sides so that it doesn't shift. And I'm making a nice little pocket. I spilled my cold brew coffee. I get it. My husband gets it at Costco for me. They're like in little cans, and that now my whole room smells like coffee. And now I'm like, oh man, I want some coffee. Just doing it at the halfway mark. And you're just wanting these two pieces to meet. So then I'm trim off any excess right now before I backstitch. And I'll be right back. No? Oh, I thought the phone was ringing. Okay, hold on, I'll be right back. I'm telling you, consistent. The one thing that is consistent today is interruptions. But you know what? I'm going to move forward. Nothing's going to stop me. Oh, this will be a really cute area if you have a label as well. You can stick it in right inside here, like Lauren Mormino has a ton of labels, and also So Your Bag has a lot of tons, like You Look So Pretty and all that. So I think those are the cutest things, and they make the bag have just a little bit more cute characteristics. So we have this beautiful now pocket. We want to make sure there's no loose, and you can see in the front and the back there is a nice row of stitching. We can now grab and find our centers on here. It's always important to have those. I'm just going to do a V. And what I'm going to do is, I know this is a 1/2 inch seam allowance in here, so I'm going to kind of finagle it a little bit at 3/4 of an inch down and centering it. And then you can put a piece of double-sided tape if you wish on the bottom, or a Dritz wash away, so nothing can move. And I'll show you. I'll do it right here. What I usually do, this is like a Dritz wash away, and I just put it on the very bottom of the bag, because like this is cork, so I can't pin it, and the clips won't be able to go into that far. So the next best thing is you can do the magnets that they use in quilting called Sew Tights, and or you can use a little bit of wash away tape and place it there so it doesn't shift. So I'm going to go over to my machine and I'm going to top stitch this down. I'm going to go into a fork first at an angle, like a right angle, and back stitch. Position it right and go straight above and back stitch. So it kind of looks like a chicken foot. It's like a V, and it helps with having tremendously, like when you're slipping your phone in and out of that pocket, the stress points won't like just be in one area. And then I'm 1/8 of an inch going around the whole bag. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to sew up and over, back stitch, and then we're going to go in a right angle. And that's it. We're going to trim our threads close. And we're done with one side. We have this cute little slip pocket. And we're going to grab our second piece. And we need this zipper pocket, zipper tape, zipper pockets. All right. Find our centers And this one, ooh, I did not do a good job interfacing that. Sometimes if I go too fast and I think it's gonna catch, it doesn't. And I hate when that happens, but it's okay. We could fix it. We could just put like double-sided tape or take it over to your press real quick and reheat it up and just let it cool down, let it get to room temperature. Loki is on every piece of the fabric today. I mean, his winter coat is coming in, but man, during this fall season, he is shedding so bad. So we found our centers, and then we're going to center our zipper pocket. I'm doing the same size zipper that they recommend. I just made a face plate to go with it. And with that, I just use a 2-inch rectangle, and then I kind of just finagle and create my own little shape. Sometimes I like it round, sometimes I like it square, sometimes I want it to be cubed off like it is right now. It all depends on what my mood is. All right. So we found our centers, and I just think going down 1 3/8, I think, is what I wrote in my notes that I would like to go down. I'm just lining up the ruler, finding my centers on one side. I'm just going to crease it so I know where to lay this down. No, it's 2 inches maybe. Yep. That's why I like double-sided tape, because you can just remove it and put it on over and over again until you can get the position. So mine was 2, is it 2? Nope, this side's not quite 2 inches. 2 inches down from the top. And then I'm going to top stitch this at 1/8 inch all the way around. I am back stitching. You can pull out your threads, but again, I'm using fabric threads that are the same color as the main part of the fabric, so they kind of just are a little bit visible. Take your time on this part. You don't have to go fast. There's no race. Go at your own accord. At the end of the day, this is your bag that you're making to sell or to give or to have for yourself. So take pride in each stitch that you do, because it's another step closer to being done with the bag. Okay, we're going to trim our stitches. Trim our stitches, trim our threads, our tails. Yeah, trim your stitches. That's how you keep it on. And then we're just going to fold in half, and I like to cut down the middle. This Thermolam, woo, buddy, it is thick. Okay, and I just cut around it And we have our nice clean pocket. What I like to do from here is before I cut my zipper tape, I just want it to go like past it, like at least 3/4 of an inch. And then I'm going to melt away with the fray edges. Sorry, mom moment. Hopi, make sure you have a snack or lunch, baby. Lunch. I'm still filming, but it's 1:44 and I haven't heard you get up to get something to eat. It's important to stay hydrated and have food, okay? Okay. Yeah, I'm still filming, but it's 1:44 and I haven't seen you. I haven't heard your little footsteps go across to get something to eat or drink. All right, thank you. And drink. Okay. So I'm going to grab this and I'm going to, I always cut my zipper pockets like bigger than what they're supposed to be. I don't know why. So I'm going to base this on at 1/8 of an inch. And this is, okay, so a little nifty thing that I do. I use the scrap pieces of like waterproof canvas and I keep those bad boys and I put them in a drawer. And when I'll have mismatched pieces, or whatever, but they're my favorite thing to use for pockets. And I just save them and I'll have like random colors that I would put into bags. All right. And we're going to 1/8 of an inch on this side. Yes, I was just thinking, you're probably like, yeah, should have just stopped. Normally, my kids are at school, so I film during the time that they're at school. Like after I do everything I need to do for the house, I film. But when this whole like month has been eventful with kids getting sick. My two youngest kids, they were, you know, homeschooled because of the quarantine for almost 2 years, almost 3. So they just transitioned into, you know, back into school, and they're doing really well in school. However, them catching colds is so real right now. I'm going to put this zipper pull on. I like to put my zipper pull on after I put the tape on. It just, I don't know, it's easier for me that way. And Zipper Valley. All right. Remove the tape. And what I like to do is I like to hit this, put it in the center. I'm just centering and just eyeball it. See, like this one, this side is like nice, and this other side, not so much. All right. So what we're going to do is I'm going to sew the bottom part first by flipping all the zipper panels outside of the exterior, and I'm going to backstitch again. You don't have to do that. You can pull threads, and it looks really pretty when you pull threads, especially if you're using contrasting threads. But I'm not. I'm using it to blend, so let's do this. We're going to go all the way down. Move your zipper if you need to. I have a narrow foot on my sewing machine, so it is not needed. Make sure you have the end where you want it to be positioned. And then We're gonna trim our tails. Trying different camera positions here. I like aerial shots like above because I feel like you can see a lot of stuff, but at the same time I'm feeling like you don't see enough, like you can't get up close. So now we're going to stitch, have all of our zipper pockets go towards the bottom of the exterior, and we're going to go up, across, and down. And I will backstitch. I like to backstitch over these areas because this is where the zipper is pulling and it's going to have the most wear and tear. So adding a few stitches can help preserve. So you'll see me backstitch over the zipper teeth and really try to enclose that. You're making a for sure stop. All right. Then we're going to go to the back. We're going to trim up both layers to be the same exact size. Okay, I'm going to do a trick, and you're probably like, Shinova, you in that double-sided tape. So what I do is I normally want the pocket to be the same size as the exterior. You don't want a longer pocket, then the pocket somehow gets stuck in the bottom panel and it's all whooshy or wonky. So what I'm going to do is this is the reason why I like different size zipper tape too. I'll take a 1/2 inch zipper tape. And I'm going to do the same thing on the back side of this. You can just use a little bit of tape on each side too. You don't have to use the whole arsenal like I'm doing. Again, I need to get stock and double-sided tape. And we're going to pull this up and then we'll fold it. And we're going to have the perfect bottom without a bazillion clips. And then you're just folding it so it's flush. And then now we're going to close up the pocket. Pull this to the side. Back stitch well over the zipper teeth. And I back stitch real well over the ends, so when I close up the bag, it's nice and it doesn't tear or break stitches. That's one side. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Alright, so we have a zipper pocket. They're ready to go. We're going to grab the base, and what we're going to do at a 1/2 inch, go a little bit more than a 1/2 inch if you want to, so that way it could be a tighter fit. You can go just a little bit more, not quite 5/8 of an inch, but in between if you wish. We're going to back stitch well at the beginning and end. And on the side that the zipper pocket's on, I closed it fully up. When I get to this other part of the panel, let me trim that. When I get to the other side of the panel, I'm going to actually leave an opening where the slip pocket is, I'm going to leave an opening. I'm going to leave a nice size opening. So I'm going to only probably sew in 2 inches both ways. And then just leave a nice size opening. Sometimes I feel like when we do a smaller opening, that's when you can tell there's like a line where you can see the birthing hole, and it can pop stitches and all that crazy stuff that we do not want. If my double-sided tape will stop sliding off the table, that would help tremendously. So I'm going 2 inches in on both sides. Okay, and as you've seen, I just kind of dragged the tails, so I'm just trimming those up so that way I don't feel like it's, when I'm trying to birth the bag, I don't get caught in it, but that's a nice size birthing hole. All right, so we're done with one side. We're now going to grab our top panel, and we're going to start making this bad boy. All right. First thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to roll up get some clips here. We're going to want to roll up our lining because we do not want to accidentally sew over it. You can use some pins at this time too. It'd probably be easier and not in your face, especially because you're using cotton. So I'm going to grab a couple pins. And just, if you're using waterproof canvas, you're going to have to use clips so that you don't put holes in everything. But if you're using cotton like me, have at it with the pins. I'm just rolling it out of the way because I don't want it to accidentally get caught up in some kind of seam. I'm just going to put a clip just to help the fold right here. So, all right. So we're going to do the same thing that's on page 10. We're going to want to find our centers, and I'm going to do a little snippety snip. I should have did that earlier, but I'm just lining up the two edges, the two seams, and then putting the snip. So we're going to put this ginormous, unusual shape bag into position. And then we're going to line up our centers on the top. We made marks earlier. And I'm trying to move things off my table, and I'm just going to start clipping around the bag. I really wish I had made piping, but sometimes just gotta work what you got. And then like when I looked on Etsy to see if there was like any pre-made or that were close to the color, or getting cork binding piping, it just would took a little too long. I broke another clover clip, and it actually says clover. The clover clips right for me. The stash that I bought last year just keeps snapping, and it's making me a little upset, just a little bit. But I'm also really harsh on my clips, so you know. I'm just molding it, and you know what? I think I might, because this is such a big one, I think I might staple. Y'all might have me stapling. I might. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not promising anything. Staples still freak me out a little bit. Or like when I'll start getting like stapling, it's like, it feels like it's a longer process, but I know the end result's better. But still. Oh yeah, and the other problem with me finding piping, they were all like for 3/8 of an inch, nothing for a 1/2 inch. So that was my other issue. I mean, you totally measure it out and be fine, but sometimes I don't want to do that extra step, you know? And that's okay. I'm going to open up the zipper just a little bit so when we... Did I not snip this? Oh, I drew a mark. Duh, Nova. Come on. There's a big seam allowance, so a 1/2 inch you're going to catch everything. You should be able to catch everything, let me say. It gives a lot of wiggle room to fix errors too, which I like. And I'm just clipping. I know clipping takes a lot of time and effort, but it's just take your time, break things up in steps. Like I finished exterior today. Tomorrow I'm going to do the putting together the bag and clipping. And there's a lot of ways to do a bag like that. So you can staple, you can... I seen somebody tell me that they got like a doll needle and they do a basting stitch with like thread, and I was like, that is kind of cool. And everything's secure. I seen people use double-sided tape that was not in the seam allowance, but it's kept everything together. I tried to do that and I have not been able to master that. That is not a brownie point for me at all. And we're almost done. I'm just smoothing out the curves. You want to make sure you get every layer, because you don't want to birth it and be like, oh man, I have to unbirth it and redo that. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but it's just not fun, you know? All right, I think I used a lot of clips. Use as many or as few as you want, and we're going to get this party started. So I'm going to smush my bag. It's going to be okay. I'm going to use the 1/2 inch seam allowance that is allotted. And we're going to start and start doing this. And then you want to back stitch a few stitches. Right now I'm going to also use my stiletto. Let me see. Yeah, I'll use my stiletto so that way I can help navigate the fabric. Or if something's not raw edge to raw edge, I can use the stiletto versus my finger. Having your finger sewn is not fun. I've done it like 5 times. I had one time was the last time made me start using the stiletto, because it broke the tip of my index finger, and I have no filling in that index finger anymore. And all that might be cool sometimes, it's not other times. Like when you're ironing and your finger touches it and you have no filling, and then you're like, oh no, I got a blister. How did that happen? But again, most people are not like me. I am super accident prone. It's in my nature. Okay, so if you have a wrinkle, make sure it's above the stitch line and not below. If you have to re-clip some areas because like suddenly this part just encaved on itself with no clips, then just take your time, re-clip with the needle down, and you should be fine. Or you could back stitch and just take the thread out and start stitching again. Nobody will see this stitch line unless you go all over the place. Like one section is 3/4 of the inch, the other one's 3/8. So just stick to your seam allowance of a half an inch, and you'll be fine. And get squishy with it. You know the bag's gonna have to get squishier, and just be okay with it. Just always stop with the needle down. And another clip bites the dust, but this is like the cheap ones that you get on Amazon. So I should have like a clip memorial service every week. I'm just as bad with pins. Like I go through quilting pins like you have never seen. You'll be like, Shova. And those curves are nice, is tight, but you can decrease your stitches around the curve and just take your time, breathe, reposition the bag. Sorry, I knocked you guys over. Reposition the bag if needed. And take your time. Make sure the seams are facing the right way and they're not going up when they're supposed to be going down. Take your time. And when you get to the hardware, just kind of, I forgot to tell you to flip the hardware down. If you get there, just kind of shimmy it down, you'll be fine. Don't stick your finger with a needle, a pin. just keep repositioning the bag. It'll work, everything will work out. I'm getting close to the hardware. I'm just going to remove a clip and just flip that hardware down so that way it doesn't get in the way. Smooth out any wrinkles. Man, I keep sticking my thumb with that pen, and it's like it's not, it doesn't hurt. It's more like, whoop, what's that? Just raw edges to raw edges. I'm just shifting the bag again. And this is why a lot of people staple, is because you're moving the bag around so much and you're shifting it. And with staples, it stabilizes the bag in position without any moving any clips. And I feel like after you sew a little bit faster because you know you have that security, if that makes sense. And just moving the hardware out of down. Okay. Woo! Did it. Did it. All right. So what we're going to do is I'm going to remove these bigger clips and take the pins and remove them, because we could do a couple things real quick before we start with the final process of this birthing. We can look and make sure that we like the look of anything and we caught everything, because we are making it a birthing method. So we can open it up, and because I haven't added my stabilizer for the bottom base or any of that, because I'm going to do that after we birth, we can just take it out, see if we like the look. Because I don't know about you, I hate and love surprises, but when it comes down to bag making, I don't like any surprises, like, whatsoever. So it's a little stiff because we haven't trimmed. I didn't want to trim yet, just in case I didn't catch something. Then I have time. To figure out the area that I don't like. But I don't think there's a mistake. It's really pretty. It's really pretty. Oh my gosh, it is really, really pretty. And I'm not, you know, if you watch my videos, I don't feel like 80% of my bags. Because it'll be like a skip stitch or something that makes me like not like it. But this is super pretty. Okay, so we could turn this bad boy back inside out and we can start the lining. And then we'll attach some handles and we're going to be done. I don't know if I'm going to make an adjustable strap for this. I'm still waiting for some cork because I wanted to make it two-tone. But I'll show you how I add the straps and we'll be finished after this. We'll trim, also trim down some of the seam allowance, some of the bulk, so that way it won't mess with the bag in any shape, way, or form. So we have now our lining fabric. Now you can go get pins, whatever works easier for you. I'm going to find our centers on the side panels. Small snip. And do the same thing over there on the other side. All right. So we want to match center to center, and I'm going to just put a pin in there and do the same thing on this side, center to center. This is why I sometimes love just using cotton woven for my lining, because pins, I don't know if it's just an in-grade feeling, but I feel like I can get a better, like, if I don't know, it feels easier for me to work with, even though it might not be. I'm not too sure. Everyone has personal preferences. Everyone works completely different from the next. So I'm going to grab a few pins and then we're going to start going to town. I'm using quilting pins. I'm using actually the magic pins I got from Emmeline Bags. Like you can sew over them. I'm not, but yeah, you can. That's what the magic is about those pins. But I'm also using some just regular old ballpoint, like the ones with the yellow cap that you can get at Amazon, pretty much every craft store. Known to man. We're just going to sew all the way around. And not sew all the way around, pin all the way around. I'm pinning for you guys. That's big. Getting my little magnet bowl too. So that when I'm done, I can just throw the pins in there and I don't accidentally step on one. You know the drill. I already stuck my hand twice so far in this bag. Super fun. And this is going to be a process, but it's going to be worth it. Because again, I like every method. I've had quite a few people ask, do you like binding, birth, drop-in? I like every method. Like there's not a method I don't like, because every single one of them has a rhyme and reason, and depending on your mood can, help you out tremendously, or, teach you something new. I like drop-in methods. I feel like this, I did the drop-in method with the Donna, and it was a little challenging, but I kind of want to do it again to try it out, because I'm one of those people, if I don't get something, I'm going to keep practicing I'm going to keep practicing it until I sound like my son. He gets frustrated when he's saying words that is saying right in your head, but it's coming out different on your tongue. I like to try things over and over again until I can semi-perfect it, I guess. That's the whole fun of sewing for me, is learning something new. That's why, again, I like all different bag designers, because each one of their brains work differently than the next, and it's just, it's amazing what how they think of the concepts and stuff. And just pinning all the way around. I always have like these bent needles, these bent pens, kind of like how I have bent, I do have bent or like messed up Wonder Clips too. And somehow, some way, like instead of getting thrown away, they get stuck in the pile, and then you use them again. You're like, I thought I threw this orange one away. And apparently you did not. That's what I'm going. I'm having those fun deja vu moments right now. Grabbing some more pens. And then when we sew this all up, we're going to trim all these seam allowances. Then we're going to birth it, close up the lining, close up the pocket, and place some handles on. I don't remove my mistakes on purpose. I don't know every YouTuber. I don't know if any YouTuber doesn't do it, but I think all YouTubers have a different way of showing their how to make bags and how they envision them, and rightfully so. For me, I like to show my mistakes because I am far, far from perfect. I make mistakes all the time, and I get frustrated with everybody like everyone else and want to Hulk smash and throw your table and all that. Or maybe that's just me. But the mistakes are a road to get us to the place that we need to go. And I'm not trying to be all like shaman, like, oh, this is a part of the journey. It is a part of the journey. It is. It's very much is a part of the journey. And sometimes it's a part of the journey we don't want to take, but it's important because we learn how to not make the same mistakes as we did before. All right, so let's start with the lining, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to squish down our bag, and I'm going to sew this a little bit more than a ½ inch because I want it to like sit nice inside. So I mean, you can go to 5/8 of an inch if you wish. Back stitch, and we're going to get squishy. This bag is going to be a little bit uncomfortable because we're in tight corners, but we got this. Squish your bag. It'll be fine. Okay, so I don't know if I said in the beginning, I am using, for my interior, I'm using cotton woven and a woven interfacing. I believe I'm using Sew Fuse. I believe I am. I'm wearing low, Monica, so if you're watching, I'm just letting you know ahead of time I'm going to be placing an order. Then I'm using, I use Thermolam. I had some, and it's interesting, most of the swoon bags back in the day, everybody used Thermolam before foam, so I was like, let me try that to see how it holds up. On my exterior, I'm using cork, and then I glued some Decoville Light onto it. I was like, let's have some fun with some interfacings. I like to mix and match my interfacings up because, I don't know, I feel like there's not a perfect formula for everybody. It just, everyone has to figure out what works for them. Some things work really great for others and not so much for others. So, I mean, just have fun with it. That's the most important part. Like, I think this will be cool to have it as, try it with foam or bouncy firm. or fleece and like maybe like a So Fuse Plus or DLH Plus, like a different one. Just it depends on your materials. This bag can be made out of cotton, you may be made out of vinyl. If you have the right skiving things, definitely leather would be kind of dope. Craft Tex, I've been playing around with that. That material is super interesting to me. It intrigues me and scares me at the same time because I use it as a stabilizers and a lot of stuff, but you can use it to as like for a wallet or for a bag. So especially the ones that are already pre-washed. The world of interfacing is pretty amazing. I know there's some other newer interfacing that's out there that I definitely want to try. So I'm hoping in 2023 I can have like a little bit like newer interfacings that I've seen, and I can bring it to you to see if it might be something that you want and tell you where you can get it at. I'm hoping. Like, I like interfacing like I like patterns. I honestly believe interfacing is kind of like collecting patterns in a way. I know it's weird. I know it's weird, but I'm a very weird person. Especially if you met me at So Magical, you know I am. Yeah, I'm really excited. I want to go to the Texas, Tennessee, all of them. And definitely my husband wants to attend the So Magical in September in Orlando. And like have somebody watch the kids and we can go to Disney World. Like, yeah, I had so much fun. I'm still recovering. My lips are still chapped. Like, I'm not the only one. There's other people that are doing unboxings or reveals. I know I heard a couple of them say my lips are dry. I think it's because like we're coming out of you know, being lockdown and not really seeing each other. And then when we see another person that makes bags or makes quilts or embroiders, it's like word vomit, and we're just like talking, enjoying a good time and having that fellowship between other sewists and speaking our language to everybody, like, yeah, backstitch or like this, or, you know, using acronyms and all that stuff like that. And then when you get back to your hotel, you're like, or your house, you're like, man, I am so thirsty. I forgot to drink today. Or I didn't put chapstick on. And it was kind of windy on one of the days too. So it's like hilarious. The recovery is not a bad recovery. It's just like someone just working out for the first time after like 2 years of not working out. It's an amazing. And if you have the opportunity to go, I definitely implore you to go to one of them. It's ran really beautifully and it was just fun to meet like all these sewing celebrities and all these sewists that you've seen their bags and they're celebrities to you. And like I told you, I met my bag guru. So definitely if you have the opportunity to do it. Bring some of your work so people can know, like you'd be like, this was my bag, I made this, blah 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 blah. It's pretty cool. So we're almost done with the lining. I kind of tell you, I kind of like the pins a little bit better because I felt like I didn't have to move raw edges to raw edges as much as I did with the other. But no complaints, we got this. Just trying to get everything to lay flat. All right. Let's start trimming. All right, so our bag is kind of squish. It's cool. We're gonna trim up to like 1/4 of an inch seam allowance on the exterior. If you want to, you could pink. I normally would, but there's some really thick parts around the side connectors that I just felt like it'll be too much. And now I'm really excited to see the bag. So there's that. And if you see an area that you need to restitch, now is the time. And I do. I seen like something where there was a little bit of gathering, and I just cut that one stitch, and I'm going to go back to the machine and just sew right above it. All right. I'm just going around. Does anybody else, when they're trimming their seam allowance, try to get it like in one pill, like when you're peeling an apple or a potato? I don't know what it is. If I'm the only one, now my secret is exposed. Yeah, I don't know why I'd like to do that. I feel like some kind of flawless victory when I do it. Yeah, I did Mortal Kombat reference right there too. Super Dicky Nova. Okay, now we're gonna do the lining, and like you can still see that I have my zipper tail in there. Like I feel like having tails sometimes, and these kind of bags can really help if you have to do a repair or something. Having that extra tape helps tremendously. And we're gonna do the lining so it can sit nice. And take your time, because you don't want to accidentally snip into your lining. I already messed up my one pill method. It's okay. Duckbill scissors will work tremendously well here, because you can also grade the heavier fabric to the lighter fabric, and it will give a nice finish. My bag's making all kind of squeaky noises. I'm just moving it around. Taking smaller scissor strokes because, again, we're moving around the exterior as well. You don't want to accidentally just, oops, I cut into it, and then you're like, man, throw the bag away. It's ruined. I'm over dramatic when I'm upset. So I'm fairly certain if my husband's watching this, he's gonna be like, yeah, 100% she does that. Like when she's upset. All right. So I'm grabbing all these excess threads and fabric, and I'm going to now birth it. Since we have a huge birthing hole, it's going to be easy peasy lemon squeezy. And that's the beauty of a big birthing hole too. Then you're not like struggling to magically get it out of your pocket. And I'm just pressing the seams to go out towards the fabric. Oh my god, this is so cool. Okay. So we're gonna close up the lining, and then I'll pan out so you guys can see everything. This is really cool. I'm really excited about this. All right, so we're going to open up our zipper pocket and pull our zipper pocket out. And this is sometimes the reason why I like to use different colors too. for zipper pockets is that when I'm closing up a lining and I'm pulling the lining in and it's the same exact color as the zipper pocket, I've got confused. I'm not going to lie to you. It's happened. It'll happen again too. I'm okay with it though. Okay, I'm getting the opening that we have for birthing. And then I am going to close this up with a 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. You can clip it or pin it into place. I'm just going to match raw edges together because I know naturally it wants to scrunch up because I'm birthing it in this small pocket. And I'm trying to close it up, but yeah, it's going to be a little temperamental. So I'm just going to start with a couple back stitch. And then what I'm going to do is my needle is down. I'm going to pull the wrong sides together nice and taut and then sew. I'm hoping you learned something today, how to make your own birthing method, birthing bag. But you can take any of these swing bags, any bag actually, and make it a birthable. If you're like, hey, I am not a fan of drop-in linings, or I'm not a fan of binding, then there's other ways. There's always another way. It just may take a little trial and error. I always tell people when they're trying new modifications, use like cheap fabric that's like you can get like muslin or something that's discontinued and it's not whatever. Or if you have old shirts, like try anything to try out your method, and it's fun. It becomes like a task, like, how can I do this? This is really cute. So we're gonna close up the pockets next. Before I close up the pocket, I just want to go through and make sure I really got all the corners nice and poked out. And then I'm going to, first I gotta fix this. The stitching on the side didn't catch in the pocket. So I'm just gonna bring that over to the machine and go over the last stitch that it stopped catching and back stitch. All right. Now we're going to close this up, and you can put a label in here too. But see how it has like, there's like a nice, there's a nice finish, and I love how like everything lines up. I don't have to pull taut. It's a nice finish by doing that double-sided tape. I don't know who I seen it from or where I thought of it, but if I seen someone, or just one day I was like fed up trying to match up exactly at 1 inch or whatever, or a ½ inch. So I just did it that way, and I haven't had any issues since. And then you close up your pocket. You trim your threads, tails. You stuff the pocket back in. I gotta say, I like this combination of Thermolam and like Decaville Light. It has like a soft but sturdy handle, like feel to it, the bag. Let me see if I can readjust one of these without messing up the camera angle too much. Okay, yeah, that's a little better. Okay, so this came out super cute. What I would do is I would roll my seams in between my fingers. Don't leave clips on cork because the little indentations like to stay. This is super cute. Oh, you could have put a hard piece of cardboard or a cutting mat in here. I did not. I don't think it needed it, but if you wanted to, you could. For these, I made two-tone straps. So what I usually do for my straps is I measure 1 inch up from like where the strap end is. So here's the strap end. And I would just mark a 1 inch up. I'm just using a 1 inch roller and a Tandy leather pen from Lauren Mormino. And I am waiting for the mail to come because I had to order more silver rivets, so I cannot rivet these in place with the medium size. I ordered them from Amazon from Springfield, so they should be here by 3, but we shall see, because you know, 'tis the busiest time of year for Amazon. But I can clip it so you can get a visual. And then I'll take a picture of the bag, like all not pressed out but rolled out, and having its straps connected, and put it at the end of this video, because we are done, my friends, because I can't do anything without the rivets. So kind of stuck there. I should have thought of that before I chose silver, but I wanted to do nickel. So let me go up here and show you the bag. I'm going to be bad at this. Hold on. All right, there we go. Okay, so we have our Maisie birth-in method. We have our side pockets on both sides. I got to roll these seams out. We have our cute little handles. And I made the handles, I made them like 1 inch wider. I think they're 4 by 14, and you fold them over like any other panel, any other attachment, but I did a little bit different, did two-tone. We have a zipper pocket, and we have a beautiful slip pocket, and look at how nice and taut the inside is. It is a pretty, pretty, pretty bag. I will be taking pictures of this and posted it in the Swoon Facebook group. If you're in that group and you follow this tutorial and you make one, I would so appreciate if you tag me and let me know that you made it, or any bag because of the birth-in method. And that's it. So I'm going to put the link to the Maisie down below. If you don't have the Maisie from Swoon, this will be an affiliate link, meaning that if you purchase it, I get a little kickback. If you already have it, then cool, then let's make it together. Look at my mistakes. Make sure you don't make my mistakes. The mistakes that I think I had is that I shouldn't have cut the tops and just like kind of put it in a little bit more, but it came out really cute, so I'm no complaints on my end. If you have questions or comments, leave them down below. I'm really good at trying to answer questions, so feel free to question away. If you're not subscribed, if you subscribe, like, and comment on the channel, it does amazing for me. If you're like, Shinova, oh my god, thank you, you taught me how to do the birth-in method for a drop-in lining. I want to do something special for you. I'll link my Ko-fi inside the comments, inside the description, and then I'll put it on the comments and I'll pin it. Also, if you're like wondering, hey, she mentioned Patreon. Yes, and Patreon this month we're doing this bag, but with a different kind of, some different modifications that are really cool. And we're doing the second half, not this Tuesday, but next Tuesday. And Patreons get little different perks, but it still doesn't deviate what I make from this channel. So I'm hoping that you like it. We have a lot of bags coming up that we're going to be making, and I'm excited to go on this journey with you. So until the next time I see you, I hope you have a wonderful week and you stay safe and happy sewing. Goodbye. I wish I had some kind of credits.